Yeah, it was a long scene where Captain America was like, I gotta kill these people. And the Hulk was like, we can't Hulkatastic do this, my man.
It's really weird you don't remember that scene, but if you go back and watch it, it's there.
You've seen the David Lynch weather report that he
Yeah.
does? Can you believe it? It is Friday once again.
Whenever I hear that, I think of the Tom and Jerry one where he just fucking like looks over this at the quarter. Can you believe it?
Oh, I love that because that reminds me of Warner Brothers. And,
Oh wait!
Warner
Before we
Brothers-
begin,
Oh,
before we begin, BadTakeDelete podcast,
Oh,
we are on
right.
that show
Yeah,
because
that's-
people that clicked onto
hey.
this might not know what exactly this is.
Oh yeah, they could just be having a fever dream thinking about what these characters are. Thinking if we're animating this in real time.
They might be waking up at like 7 o'clock with this on. They have no idea what the fuck it is.
You should go
Just
back to
left
sleep.
YouTube on and fall asleep. Yeah, go back to sleep, you idiot.
Yeah, just like drink some water.
Whatever
drink some
responsibility
Gatorade.
you have, just cancel it now because we told you so.
Yeah, because we're about to talk about something important.
Exactly.
Starfield. Have you played it yet?
No.
No? What do you mean no?
How could I have played it? Well, actually, as we're recording this, it's
Yeah.
the day before it goes live.
Yeah.
I was preloading it earlier, but it's it's 100 gigs.
100 gigs? Oh my god.
Yeah, well, it's 86 just to download the fucking thing, and I'm guessing it's gonna be an extra 20 when the thing comes out for day one patches or whatever.
I love day one patches. I love it. I love it when they patch things.
Oh, they have to,
Love
dude.
that.
Have you seen the clips of the footage, the game footage?
Been described as Oblivion in space, and I love that.
Yeah, some guy leaked it that ended up getting arrested for like marijuana possession and trying to sell the game.
Wait a second. So he was selling weed and Starfield. That sounds like a good
Yeah.
combo, my man.
That's a powerful combo. I mean, you kind of have to have one and one, you know. But the footage came out up until then. Trailers and the selected footage that came out looked really pristine and nice.
Yeah.
And everyone in the back of their mind are like, all right, when is it going to be Bethesda?
Mm-hmm.
When is it going to be an actual Bethesda game? And that that leaked footage is the most jank, fucking, goofy-looking gameplay ever. And I know I'm going to love it. I know I'm going to adore it.
I remember seeing a tweet. Let me pull up my phone. There it is. I'm showing it up on screen right now. If you're listening to this in a different tab, or while driving a car, if you're driving a car, pull over. Take a look right here. Take a look at what I'm showing right here. It was some guy saying, "Why can't I land on this planet? I guess it really isn't endless." And then all the comments are saying that's a gas giant. You can't land on gas planets.
That's so fucking stupid.
You know what? I would want a mod, or if I try to land on a gas planet, I die immediately. Or if I try to land on the sun accidentally, it just kills my character. I would love that.
I would love a mod where you just die upon logging in.
Yeah, I mean, you're in space. Anything can happen.
It's like a role-playing game. You get to experience, like, what it's like to be in space with a heart that's only going to last 1 second.
The Flash, released on HBO Max.
All right. We've been pushing this back as far as we could.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about it a lot, but what's funny is I don't think either of us have actually we hadn't seen it until now, right?
Yeah, no, it was one of those things where I got so off put by not wanting to see it in theaters that I was like, you know what? No. I saw Blue Beetle in theaters, and that was a good time. But this isn't a Blue Beetle episode, now is it? It's not.
It could be.
Okay, no. So The Flash, I remember the evening when I texted you, I was like, oh, The Flash, it's on HBO Max. It's just on. We got to see it.
It's there.
I mean, I didn't see any advertisements on Twitter. I didn't see, like, anyone talking about it until, after the fact.
Yeah, it was very, very unsanctimonious. They just slapped it on like fucking flex tape on a hole. Just threw it on. It's there now, which, by the way, I'm sure half of you listening are also shocked that it's on there. And it is. You go watch it after this.
And before we get into spoiler territory, which is basically just talking about the whole movie, I'm gonna recommend it. Go see it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I gotta agree. It's not actually that bad of a movie. I would watch it if you had a few seconds, but we'll get
A
more
few
into
hundred
that.
seconds. It's like 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's a long ass goddamn
It's
movie.
2 hours and 30 minutes?
Yeah, I think it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes actually.
Holy shit.
It's a long-
It
it's a
feels
long
a lot
movie.
shorter in retrospect.
The plot
God.
feels like it's always trying to get itself going. You know what I mean? To what we actually need to do.
So the movie starts with probably one of the cooler things, I guess.
Yeah.
And tell me if I'm missing parts of this for whatever reason. Doesn't it immediately start from him having to like suit up and help out Batman and some shit.
Yes,
Or no, he's getting like a sandwich.
he's getting a sandwich, and his girlfriend, which is the same actor from the Snyderverse Justice League. Glad they got the same actor. But they're not girlfriend, boyfriend yet. They're like, ooh, pining crush, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic.
The barista's being very slow, and so he just has to suit up and go help out Batman. Well, not go help out Batman, because Batman is like trying to stop the Falcone brothers from selling something. Siblings, whatever. And so Alfred is talking with the Flash, going like, hey, we need you to do this job. We got to stop this building. This building is catching on fire, water damage. And he's like, you sure no one else can do it? Wonder Woman? Where is she? Where's Superman? Where's Aquaman?
Yeah, they just...
Where's Cyborg?
For some reason, they just shit on him. They're like, yeah, you were like the last option. Which is weird, because he's like definitely much more helpful for this scenario than anyone else would be.
Yeah, what would Aquaman have done, really? Add more water? Really?
I do love how they say Superman couldn't help because there's a fucking volcano erupting in some like foreign land.
Yeah, because he's not Captain America, who's only residing in one place, and then sometimes the Middle East when he needs to kill people. Remember that from the Avengers?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was a long scene where Captain America was like, I gotta kill these people. And the Hulk was like, we can't Hulk-tastic do this, my man.
It's really weird you don't remember that scene, but if you go back and watch it, it's there.
And so this is they really get into the babies falling out of a hospital scene.
Oh my god, the best scene.
Like, I would have assumed that would happen, I don't know, halfway through the film, because the CGI in a lot of the earlier parts of the movie looked bad, but as it went along, it started to get better, and then worse again.
Yeah, it's shoehorned, right? It, like, horseshoed all the way back. The babies in that clip look so fucking bad.
I remember when the director, what was the director's name again? What was his name? Andy Muschietti. He was actually the hot dog guy as the Flash was running to save the babies. That was the director. The guy was eating the hot dog. Because in the behind the scenes, it's described as he likes putting himself in his movies. And it's like, yeah, I'd fucking do that too. If I'm directing a movie, I'd rather be a guy in it.
I would have loved if he put himself in the movie, but his character was more like Quentin Tarantino in Pulp Fiction.
Oh, like he gets to say the N-word?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know why that's where you first immediately jumped to, but yeah, that's exactly right.
Or he's in Defeat, maybe? But...
That would have been fucking funny. It's just like he's like, at the very last second of the movie, I'm gonna make it a cameo and I'm gonna say the one slur.
The one slur?
And then leave.
Isn't that what the Lorax fights?
Okay, so after the fucking Batman scene, you're sick in the head.
Andy, the behind the scenes, is like, oh, the reason why it looks so weird is because things in the Speed Force look that way sometimes. It looks off, looks bad. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Because we'll get into later, at least for the time travel scenes, I was like, it could look a bit bad. You know, that's fine. But it's early on, you see him not really touching the babies. Like, he's like scooping them up with cloth. He's putting it into a microwave, to which they later explain that because of how fast he's moving, if he touches someone, they get violently fucking sick. And that makes a lot of sense, don't you think?
It makes sense, but it's like, why? It's such a dumb... I don't know, man. I'm mixed on it. I think it's kind of stupid. Mm-hmm. It's just an excuse for them to put a baby in a fucking microwave. It's the only reason that exists. But it's cool. It's a cool scene.
It's a few days before his dad's trial because it said that, oh, he murdered his mom. And I want to say that we don't find out who did that. We don't. Like, I thought it was going to be like, oh, Barry was the one who actually killed his mom, or, you know, Reverse Flash did it. It's never revealed who killed his mom.
I think I kind of like it that way, though.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I like the mythos of the Reverse Flash being the one that caused it,
yeah,
the idea that it was just some guy is kind of interesting to me. It's not like some... you know, dramatic fucking, like, you know, everything's connected plot. Mm-hmm. It just so happened that some guy, you know, went to rob the house. The mom was there. Unfortunate.
Yeah. Bang. For all beginner robbers, wait until night.
Yeah.
Why do it during the fucking day when the car's out front? That is robbing 102. You're in the advanced course now, my friend. And they're like, oh, if only we had proof of him at the store to get the extra can of spaghetti sauce. But the one time we see him on camera, he doesn't look up. He just doesn't look up.
Remember that for later.
And so the Flash gets so sad, like it gets so sad he accidentally goes and uses the Speed Force to travel back in time. Like,
you know, as you do.
Usually doesn't he usually need a machine, a treadmill?
yeah. In the comics, he is the cosmic treadmill, which is supposed to like harness the Speed Force and let him like project through time. I don't mind this change. I don't mind the change of him just...
running
it's not like
really
this is
fast.
the first one to change it. Yeah. Look, they did that in the animated series, too.
Mm-hmm.
and I think also in the CW show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much. If they had the cosmic treadmill in this movie, I don't even know what to say.
I mean, he ran so fast, and then he traveled back and tells Bruce about it. And we get to later about how time travel works, but I was like, didn't he change stuff just by going back the first time?
Time travel means nothing. The rules for this movie are so stupid.
And so
they mean nothing.
Bruce, who is like his disgruntled 50-year-old Bruce is like, I've had a long time to grieve for my parents. They made me who I am today. I'm glad. I would never go back. And then Barry goes back in time.
That was a nice scene because, you know, it's kind of, we get to see Batman just being like, you know, obviously it takes a lot of will not to greenlight him going back and stopping his parents' death.
Yeah.
And it's just like he accepts it, you know. It's kind of for the last time we'll see him, it's not bad. He played pretty good Batman in this film.
As a side before we get more into the plot.
Don't tell me he's an Aquaman. Don't tell me he's an Aquaman.
Remember when Diana used the lasso of truth and Batman is accidentally holding it and he said, "If I really want to stop crime, I got to end poverty and give away all my money."
That was kind of dumb.
I think it was there for the people who are like, what if he just stops doing this? What if he just blah blah? What if it? And it's like, he could, but the Joker still exists.
Yeah, it's not like the Joker's gonna get a fucking, you know, affordable income and all of a sudden stop killing people.
That's always what I wanted, Batman. Affordable housing.
Yes.
I guess I should have done this earlier. I'm sorry, Joker. You still have to do a jail, kill a bunch of people, but... So they go back in time, and while he's in the Speed Force, is he in the Speed Force, or is he in, like, a specific area?
He calls it something. I forget what it was.
Well, another speedster just knocks him the fuck out, and he transports back into 2013. An alternate 2013 where Nora's alive. His mom. Despite the fact this is, like, the first time we've seen his mom ever, you're like, oh, they did a good job establishing he has a mom. Which, that's a weird sentence to say, but you're like, oh, I can see how it impacts him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a sweet scene. It's, I will say, and the scene before that, when we get to see the flashback of, like, him as a kid with his parents, and then, you know, everything to do with the parents. The scene with him talking to his dad at the jail cell, where his dad's just trying to tell him to do his own thing. I think ironically enough, when the movie slows down, it's not that bad. When the movie takes a second to, like, fucking do something with, like, try to be, like, emotional and make that attachment, it works really well. It's actually very good. Ezra's not that bad of an actor.
It's like those are the scenes Andy had to keep fighting to get in. Because those didn't look reshot at all.
No, those felt very much like those were always part of it.
Like the ones they shot 2 years ago or whatever. But he travels back in time to 2013, and he sees his younger self on the day that he gets his superpowers. You know, where he's working in a lab, and there's like, the lightning shoot... What was it? Okay. The lightning... I opened up my phone. The lightning shoots the chemicals, and the chemicals fall on him, and the lightning also shoots him, and that's how he gets his powers. But this time... Barry, the one that we know, loses his powers, and the previous Barry gets his powers. Now, in the comics, isn't it a thing where the Speed Force weakens if there are two Flashes in one timeline? Is that like a thing?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I think the Speed Force gets kind of like split up.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that would mean like one of them has to slow down or not. I'm very shaky on that. I'm not super knowledgeable on the Flash, just the basic shit.
They hear General Zod's broadcast, and he's like, I gotta find the Superman. You have the Superman. Get me the Superman. And the Flash is like, oh yeah, I was there that day. I tried saving someone.
Just casually.
Just because, I mean, like, for a lot of these characters, remember in Batman vs. Superman, where Batman's looking at, I don't know, was it Batman? It was Man of Steel, where Batman is looking at his computer and he's like, "We got all these other heroes, like Aquaman."
Yeah, he like hacks into like LexCorp or some stupid shit, and they all of a sudden have every other Justice League member.
So I guess the Flash was trying to save people back then, maybe. And so they say, we got to go find Bruce, we got to go find Diana, we got to go find Victor Stone. And that was a pretty funny scene of him trying to like Google to see if these people exist. Victor Stone exists, but he hasn't had his accident yet. What do you think of that scene?
They show that?
Yeah. When
that completely went over my head.
When the Flash was on his computer, he saw that Victor Stone was still a high school student, like playing football. Diana or Wonder Woman was like a magician, like some other woman who took the trademark. You don't know that scene?
No, I completely went over this, I guess.
It was the scene where he was in his apartments with the other Barry and his friends.
Oh yeah,
and they were like, "What's?"
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, that was the scene. And Arthur Curry wasn't even born. I don't know how that affected, like, I don't know how his mom dying affected that. Because, like, I remember watching the Flashpoint Paradox animated movie, and that had a lot more fucked up shit going on in the universe.
Yeah, that was. I would have. I think if they tried doing that, and there probably was a draft where they did, it would have been way too congested.
Well, in the animated one, it was a fight between the Amazonians, Earth, and the Atlanteans. But lo and behold, we don't really have these actors, or maybe we do, or maybe we don't. We'll get into the changes in a bit. And so they go over to the Wayne Manor, which I guess, luckily, it's in the same place as it was before. Imagine if it wasn't. And so they just go talk to him, and he's the Michael Keaton Batman. How'd you feel about the reveal where he's a doddering old man explaining that Gotham is very perfect and he has no purpose?
At first, thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, so this is Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
This is his dad. This is the Flashpoint where it's like the dad lives. Okay, that's cool. I like this. Sidetrack. As soon as he reveals that he's Bruce Wayne, it ruined. It's immediately gone. I mean, it just ruined it for me.
I was on the same boat as you. I literally thought it was Thomas Wayne. He's gonna be like, "Why do you keep saying Bruce? How do you know Bruce?"
Would have been fucking awesome, but can't have that scene. Can't have that, fucking classic moment in the comics.
Nope, because that would be too smart for the audience. We can't have that. And I guess Batman has no purpose anymore. He can't even do philanthropy. He doesn't even have a Catwoman in his universe. Well, he does have a Catwoman, but go on.
He does have catchphrases.
Yeah, it felt like Michael Keaton was forced to say those for like 40 takes or something because he was not feeling it. I did not feel it.
You can tell that that's definitely like the fucking producers coming in. Warner Brothers being like sitting them down and just like, hey, all right, so we're gonna have the Michael Keaton Batman in there, and they're like, all right, sure. Okay. He's got to say the Batman things.
Well, hold on. It's been 35 years. How do people gonna remember that? Wouldn't it sound stupid if he just says that out of context?
But he needs to say he's Batman.
Well, we can have that, but the other catchphrase sounds really stupid out of context. You sure about that?
The other catchphrase actually got me mad. It got me angry. I paused it and like went downstairs for a minute for some air.
You have to go punch a wall.
They're like getting ready for the final fight.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to, and he just fucking says, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." It's like, fucking shut up, Michael Keaton Batman.
It's like, that was not in your heart. I did not feel it coming from your heart. It came out of, when you're held captive and you have to read the newspaper to be like, this is the date, this is the time. That's kind of what it felt like. He was just saying it. Not even for a paycheck. They forced him at gunpoint. They had to CGI the gun out of the room.
Yeah, that wasn't acting. That was just him going through the motions.
Now, what I did find interesting was the use of a lot of 80s technology. Not in the sense of, ooh, it's very retro, it's very 80s, but like, he was using the old satellite systems. He was using like a Nokia flip phone to hack stuff. And I was like,
yeah, that was cute.
That makes sense. And even, we'll get into this a bit later, to escape the Russian facility, he has to he's like, how much do you weigh? Yeah, he pulls out like a tape measure.
Yeah, he has to do the math like on the fly instead of just like immediately having a robot do it. It's fucking, that is cute. I do like that, he definitely does seem like he's been out of the game for 30 years or whatever.
It can't, because it's not like you'd be making new gadgets for no reason, But anyway, they go to Siberia, I believe it was Siberia, to go find Superman, and lo and behold, they found Kala's cousin, Kara Zor-El, and that was pretty good.
Oh wait, we're skipping something though, real quick.
What did we skip?
When they meet Batman, before they go in the Batcave and they start talking to him about the whole time travel thing.
Yeah.
That really... Did the spaghetti thing make any fucking sense at all?
Okay, I'm gonna say they had to figure out something for this. So it's like,
for the audience, what happened is Bruce Wayne is explaining to the Flashes how time travel works, and he takes out fucking spaghetti, and he's like, instead of when you go back and change something, and like, from that point onward gets altered, essentially, if you alter something at any point, you start a whole new fucking timeline, a whole new strand of spaghetti, which is trying to explain why everything is different.
Oh, I didn't think it was a whole new timeline. I think it was just you jump into the other timeline, the one that's already pre-established.
No, he's saying you create a whole new timeline from that change.
Oh.
And you jump over it. Yeah, you completely alter your timeline.
But, so, yeah, this
is why it makes no sense.
He even explained that the past also changes.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's fine. They could just said, your Speed Force is changing time and space. Like that could have worked too. Cause like,
but then you wouldn't be able to make a joke about spaghetti.
yeah, then he gets to eat spaghetti. Oh, there was this small little thing where older Barry has to teach younger Barry how to use the flash powers, and he keeps getting naked.
That was fun.
It's like, you can't phase through walls yet, Barry. Oh, he did. He's naked. He probably murdered a bunch of people. There goes the Flash. That's what he does.
That's where he gets the name.
And so they traveled to Siberia in their very fun old Batman technology, and they rescue her. And the moment she steps out into the sun, she gains her powers back a little bit because, you know, the Supermen, the Superwomen are solar powered. She murders them, and what felt like this movie should have been rated R because she fucking murdered those people. There should be a lot more blood where there was.
Oh no, they're all dead. Like there's no one's knocked out. Like with fucking like birds flying around their head. They are gone.
They take him back to the Batmansion, and they're trying to get the Flash's powers back by recreating, you know, what he got before. And they do that shit, you know, with the help of Kara, brings him to the sky, gets him zapped again. And that leads me to a very poignant question I want to ask you, JJ. It's going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why don't other people do this?
Like create their superpowers like that?
No, I mean, if the Flash was created with lightning and these chemicals, why hasn't Batman been like, what if I want to be fast?
I don't know. I think in the comics it's explained that like he was chosen, like the lightning was actually like him doing it, like it's a self-proclaimed prophecy, like he is the lightning bolt.
Well, that's
it's
better.
Weird.
Because at least it's
in
like...
the comics.
Because like, I thought it was going to be a thing where it's like, oh, there can only be one Barry in this timeline to have the powers, but it's just like, if I was Michael Keaton Batman, I'd be like, can I get the powers?
I think they were saying by the fact that like he got shocked the first time and it didn't work, and then got shocked again, is that like it was a freak thing that he got his powers. Like otherwise, normally you would just die.
I guess the Flash's molecules are built for withstanding lightning.
Yeah, I guess, or some shit like that. I don't know, man, but
yeah.
I'm trying. It's hard to have to defend this movie because there's a lot that goes on in between. My favorite though is between Kara going to the mansion and helping him. She leaves for a little bit because she's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm not human.
Yeah,
I've been in Siberia this whole time. I have no idea what humanity's like. Fuck you guys. You just kept me locked up."
Yeah.
Flies away, sees Zod bitch slap a guy, and then he's like, "Oh, now I understand," and then flies back with a completely new outlook on humanity.
It's like, I thought humans were bad, but Zod is worse because he kills more. And it's like, didn't you already know Zod was bad?
See, I thought those humans that locked me up for my entire life were really, really bad. But when I saw one of my own people for the first time in like 18, 20 years, and he killed a guy, much like how I did.
A lot, actually. I
realized it was wrong.
Yeah, and so they go to the empty space, the empty field of nothingness, which a lot of people talked about on Twitter when those images came out. And
it looks like a demo setting for like Unity.
It's impressive, the level of compositing, not the CGI, the compositing they had, but it's weird that they just didn't have it in like a city or somewhere more recognizable in the comics, not the desert, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's revealed that Zod murdered Superman because he thought the Codex was in him. Kara gets very angry and they fight each other. The Barrys are fighting too. They're fighting a lot of people. Younger Barry, 2013 Barry, the worst Barry. Their suit doesn't have the protective shit that older Flash does, so he has to like dissipate energy. So that was pretty fun to see him zapping people. That was cool. What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, it was pretty awesome. And then I thought, you know, overall that scene wasn't as bad as I expected, where they just like dick around with like lightning powers and running around. They had fun with that scene.
And so we've then see the fact that Batman dies, and also so does Kara.
Yeah, they both end up failing. Like it's the bad ending.
Yeah, every time. Like it's canon that they have to die, and the first time that Batman dies is the one that everyone talks about, where he just suicide bombs that thing that has a shield, so his death meant nothing.
Yep.
And then the second time he dies from like one of those big brutes, like one of the Kryptonian brutes or whatever. And then Kara dies by a lot of ways. And I think about this, I'm going like, wait a second. Did you get Michael Keaton back just to die a bunch? Did you hype up the Superwoman actor? Because she did very well as a Superwoman. I believed she hated being there the whole time and did not like the Flash. I believe that.
I think Michael Keaton was very misused. But I think we also need to explain what you mean by how he died multiple times.
Okay, so 2013 Barry is like, well, you know how you went back in time? What if I run so fast? And older Barry is like, you can't do that. You're not trained enough, and he just does it. And so they go back in time to try and save Batman. And the first time the Flash says, Bruce, you can't, I don't know why he's calling him Bruce, by the way. Like, in this scenario, if he's gonna live, I'll just keep calling him Batman. He's like, Bruce, don't attack that ship, it has a shield. And he's like, okay. And he drives away.
He just nods it off. He's like, you know this information. All right. Just flies away.
He's like, okie dokie. And 2013 Barry does this again and gets a piece of metal, like Kryptonian metal, lodged in his skin that heals over it from what's Zod's friend's name? What's her name again?
I have no fucking idea.
Zod's friend does this and he murders her in cold blood, and that's the start of Dark Barry. Because this isn't this isn't Reverse Flash. I think it's called Dark Flash or something. They made a new character for this movie.
Sure.
I looked it up. I was like, is this Reverse Flash? They're like, nope.
As soon as he got some of the shrapnel in him, you realize, like, immediately, oh, so he's he's the villain from the start. Which, by the way, I want to say, this builds up to the Black Flash reveal, because as we will later find out, essentially, let's explain it. They keep fucking up, no matter how many times they go back in time. Batman and Supergirl are just meant to die.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do. And Barry realizes this and realizes he needs to prevent this from ever happening and just let his mom die. Barry, 2013, hears this. He's like, fuck you. I care about them. And then he starts going crazy about how he's like, I'll fix this. And he keeps going back and back in time. And each time he starts getting more shrapnel on him. By the first time, you realize, oh, that Black Flash that we've seen literally twice in this movie. We've seen him twice.
Well, actually, we saw him
of like 15 seconds.
We saw him in Barry's dream when he fell asleep. So I guess
that's the second time.
Okay, 2 times then.
We saw him when he first went back in time and he got fucking just slapped in the face. We see him in a dream sequence like 30 minutes in, which is, I'm telling you, it was a reshoot.
Yeah.
Because the audience wouldn't remember he was in the movie. Because there's no mention of him anywhere else in the film. Not once.
Chrono Bowl. He was in the Chrono Bowl. That's what Barry called it.
Yeah, the Chrono Bowl. He shows up at the start of the movie when he first go back in time. Then he has a dream sequence like somewhat in the middle of the film. Then he shows up at the end, and you realize, oh, he looks like he got all this black stuff on him. That's shrapnel. So that means like it just was this Flash going back in time over and over and over again.
I had to clarify. I sent you a link that I'll show on screen. This is Dark Flash.
Dark Flash.
Dark Flash, an entirely new character that has yet to exist. They just made one for the movie so they can kill him too.
It would have been kind of cool if they had like Reverse Flash ended up being the evil Barry from like this alternate timeline.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
here's the shitty thing. Okay, here's the fucking shitty thing. The first time we see 2013 Barry, he's wearing yellow. And throughout the film, he's wearing yellow shirts. And I was like,
I have a feeling that it might have been the intention at one point. I can't say how far into production it was.
Yeah.
But there had to be at least one time where they're like, we can make him Reverse Flash, and then someone decided, no. You know, this universe is not going that far. Just slap a fucking make him evil bastard Flash. And they're like, all right.
We'll just call him that. Let's call him Bastard Flash.
Bastard Flash.
And so
now
we're in the Chrono Bowl.
Oh god. And we have the scene where it's fucking Barry versus Bastard Flash.
Yeah.
And they're just fucking going at it. And I think, like, he shoots lightning at Bastard Flash, and it ends up tearing a hole through the Chrono Bowl.
Yeah.
And we get possibly, and as someone who said this is not a bad film, as someone who said they recommend it, this part it's a spectacle.
Let me put it this way. If they didn't have the Superman, you know, the one that killed himself, that didn't want to be known as Superman, if they didn't have him, if they didn't have the other Superman, you know, if they did more worlds, like an animated world, or the CGI Green Lantern, or more less recognizable DC works, I thought that would have been a really cool scene. Because we did see Nicolas Cage Superman. That was not CGI. That was his real face that they put a weird filter on. They had Supergirl and Superman for the 1970s one, or 1980. Was Supergirl in the 1980s? Anyway, so they had all these worlds colliding everything, and I was like, that looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool in concept.
In concept. So they open it up, and then there's like millions of these other Chrono Bowls flying around, and we see they're all the other DC iterations of the characters. And you notice immediately none of them are the Flash, even though they had a Flash that they could have used. It would have been cool.
Well, didn't they have
fuck that.
the 1980s Flash from the Flash TV series.
Does he show up?
Yeah, I think he shows. Okay, so here's another issue with it. It tears a hole through fabric of space and time, and you see like all of the Supermens and everyone looking at it. And so when they eventually fix it, do you think Nicolas Cage, because he finished defeating the spider, and he's like, oh, that's weird. Wonder what that
Yeah,
was.
he stares at it.
Because, like, in their timelines, that was supposed to happen. Like, in Barry's timeline or whatever, it's like, oh, that was quirky, that was weird, but 1970s Superman was like, Supergirl, did you see that too? Did you see that weird shit going on?
They all just so happen to be at the exact right place for it to open up. Like, they're on the right building top.
And remember, in some incarnations of Superman, they let him be a genius that invents things. Wouldn't one of them want to be like, hey, what the fuck was that multiverse thing that I was looking at? Let's look into that.
There's a lot of problems with that scene.
Mm-hmm.
But one of them that I personally am very confused about is that there's no actor credited for Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
Who's the 1930s Superman world where he's running with the helmet on.
Yeah.
He might straight up just be an AI generated fucking person.
Well, for a lot of the reshoots, a lot of the background characters were CGI, and some of them looked fine. But, like, again, if it was more stylized, you know, like if it was way more stylized and more cartoony in terms of the recreations of these other worlds, you can get away with it. But think of it this way: that's a lot of shit to render on screen. That is probably all that they can do without their computers breaking and bursting into flames. So on the visuals, I'm going to say that is fine, my man. It's fine.
It's better than anything I could ever do in my lifetime.
And so they killed 2013 Barry. Sorry, Bastard Flash kills 2013 Barry because regular Barry can't kill. You know, this is one rule.
He goes so. As Bastard Flash explains, the reason that he punched Barry to begin with, and this is a plot hole.
Yeah.
He punches Barry to begin with because he is the reason that this Barry gets his powers. Because otherwise Barry would have never been at the observatory or whatever, because he didn't work there.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I had to get you there to get it in motion. Because I've been doing this running shit for years on years on years.
Yeah, he's so fucking old during it. And it's like, okay, you brought your mom back. How are you going to explain that you're like 100?
Two things that come to mind immediately. First of all, so like, are you saying that he knocks Barry in to give him the powers, but then his motivation would be that Barry went in to give him the powers, and it becomes a paradox because if Barry
it is a causal paradox. They explained that in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, they do. It's a perfect Yeah, you're right. He calls it a paradox. The Flashpoint paradox. Oh, I get it now.
They should have said that. They should have looked at the screen. Says this is the Flashpoint paradox,
and the title comes up again for a split second.
The movie just ends. Never.
But
no part 2.
The second thing that gets me is he's saying that he's been doing this for years. He's been trying and trying. I don't see his ass once during that scene in the desert. I don't see him trying once. He's not doing shit. He's just fucking in the fucking Chrome Dome, whatever, just jogging in place.
Yeah, if we saw him more often, or like every once in a while the Flashes look behind themselves or something, you know, to be like, oh, what was that? No, never mind, let's just keep going or whatever. Maybe that could have worked to really establish, like, this is the thing that's going on. Because I do like the concept of Bastard Flash, which is what we're calling him just forever now. It's like the 2013 Flash that couldn't get over his mom's death or eventual death because he never knew that timeline or possibility could have happened. Because our Flash, older Flash never told him, hey, our mom died. This is why I'm sad.
Oh, wait, you reminded me. So 2013 Barry realizes it. He pretty much calls him out. He's like, what? You're gonna go back in time and stop her mom from dying? He's like, how do you know that? He's like, I just know. It's never explained how he knows that. If ever.
I'm sure Bruce knew it. He's like, oh yeah, this kid's got dead parents. I can tell.
I know, but Barry 2013 had no. He never is. There's no his in-universe reason is just that he knows. Mm-hmm. He's like, I just do.
After all that stupid shit happens, we get one of the best scenes I've seen in a DC film, where the Flash the Flash sees himself putting in the extra can of spaghetti sauce, but he has to confront his mom. Not confront his mom, but he sees his mom in the shot back in 2013, knowing that she has to die and he's causing her to die, crying and hugging her and taking away the spaghetti sauce. That was a very powerful scene. I was like, oh my god, a DC film did that in this day and age?
It It was very good. It was a little awkward, obviously, because it's hard having a mother-son moment between what she would perceive as a stranger.
Yeah.
But it works, and yeah, like I said, when the movie slows down, like for that scene, it's very good. It's very good, very close to home.
And so Barry finally learns that changing the timeline is bad,
and you should never alter anything in the past because the ramifications are just not worth it.
And then he changes the past again
Immediately after, like that same second that right after changing the fucking soup can, he just goes to the aisle over and changes where the fucking cans are, so that when back in the present day during the court case, remember earlier when his dad was like on camera but he just never looked up?
Yeah.
But now the cans are higher, so he had to look up.
Man, I would just like,
Ta-da!
I don't know, move the camera down slightly, something less intrusive, you know what I mean? I don't know.
No.
Or like, okay, so I'm gonna bring up a fucking Family Guy example. There's an episode where Stewie and Brian go back in time to find where Brian buried a bone, and they find it, and Brian is like, well, let me dig up the bone. And Stewie says, no, we'll just go back into the future and we'll dig up the spot where we saw it. And so it's like, all right, you couldn't find like a receipt for the day because those have timestamps of when you bought the shit. Why don't you like look for that and just remember where you placed it in the future? You know what I mean? Something like that.
So stupid then. It doesn't matter. The whole movie, at that point, the movie was done. They gave up. They're just trying to get to the credit scene. And right before, and this was a reshoot as I understand it.
Yes. I'll tell you the original ending, but you go first.
I don't remember the original ending. The ending that we get is that he walks out, he's celebrating, his dad's out of jail. Yay! Iris West wants to date him. Yay! All right, great. Batman, you're coming up. Yay! Hey, Bruce, wait a second. That's George Clooney. They couldn't help themselves. They had to throw in one more fucking Easter egg, a cameo.
Yeah.
Wow! Remember Batman from that movie? Ugh, that movie sucks.
The original ending, it was just going to end on Barry saying, who the fuck is this? And that would have been fine, assuming that he would have been the same actor for the new film series. That would have worked. But they got George Clooney. They probably paid him like a nice little. It's like, you got to be here for just a day, Clooney. You sure you can't? You sure you can't do this cameo? You can't be Batman for like one more film. And I think it was a missed opportunity for actually, before I set up this, when they're in the apartment and they're discussing who was Marty McFly in Back to the Future, actors change because of the universe and everything.
Yeah, the Eric Schultz moment. It was cute.
Barry Allen should have said, "You're George Clooney." and he's like, "No, I'm Bruce Wayne."
I would have loved that. That would have been cute.
It's like,
but they didn't do it because it's the Flash.
And so the Flash ends on Barry on a CGI set with CGI people walking behind him as a CGI tooth falls out of his mouth.
CGI.
And then the post-credit scene is Arthur Curry stumbling out of a bar being drunk, and Barry's trying to explain to him, hey, here's how the timeline affected me, here's how the timeline affected this, and he just doesn't give a shit and falls into a puddle of water. And Barry's like, shouldn't I get you home? And Arthur's like, I am home. In the water.
Get it?
Dude, that's how the film ends.
Because he's Aquaman.
Anyway, go watch the film.
Yeah, I would still recommend it.
Very comic booky. You know what I mean?
It's fun, stupid. It's very turn your brain off, don't think about it kind of movie. Like, if you squint your eyes, literally, if you squint your eyes and the CGI looks a bit better, you're not focused in on it.
Well, the issue...
It's not bad.
Is that Max, the streaming service, has such good streaming quality, you're going to see the CGI in all of its detail.
Yeah, it's blatant. I don't have a good TV. I have a Goodwill TV.
Yeah,
and it's fucking. It's
IMAX cinema quality.
Oh my god, the babies in that movie are so god awful. And when they have that one scene where he's in the fucking turning it back time, and we get to see Henry Cavill show up for a split second, and it's possibly the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life.
Well, the weird thing is, Henry Cavill was supposed to be in the original film. Like, that was supposed to happen. He was supposed to be in the original film along with Gal Gadot a lot more, but contractual issues. Yeah, so I'm glad the film finally fucking released. If anything, I'm glad that it came out. I'm glad that we saw it, because there was a possibility, because never have seen it,
That was a different spaghetti timeline.
Ooh. But that was our fun ramble about the Flash. We got some questions. We get some questions. The first one's not a question. OD25. Okay, it's actually O.D. We got to remember the period. JJ, If you actually want to watch Black Adam, I gotta warn you about a thing.
Yeah.
For some reason, they decided to make Hawkman the voice of reason and not a manic with wings.
Ooh, that's not good.
I guess you can't watch anymore.
I would not trust that guy with anything. Have you seen my video of Hawkman? Because that's that's probably the best characterization you're gonna get of him. That's exactly what he's like.
Lonely Homegirl.
And he's a fucking nut job.
We got Lonely Homegirl. That's the fast guy, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, he is.
Gray 74 Prime 3992. They're from the future, actually. My cat has started peeing on the stairs in the same place. Is that a sign we live in the Flashpoint timeline?
Nope. It means that your cat has blockage, and you're gonna want to take it to a vet.
Yeah, you gotta take care of your cat. But also, if it's peeing in one specific spot every time, isn't that like a neutering thing? Like usually when cats spray or piss a lot, they're not neutered yet.
Possible. It's either they're not neutered or they're spotting, which would be blockage.
Next question.
BadTakeDelete. Get your pet advice. Get your medical pet advice here.
Get your cat spayed and neutered. My cat got neutered recently.
Listen to the show. Good for them.
Timothy Jarman 2308 didn't see the movie, but DC and Marvel are terrible. Why are you watching this podcast? That's mostly what we talk about.
If you're listening to up into this point that we're answering your question, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Well, maybe they're an IDW fan or a Dark Horse Comics fan.
Ah,
or they're comic.
We have a word for them.
Cool guys.
Stupid.
Cool, stupid guys.
Ooh, I said it. What are you gonna do about it?
Think Tank Studios. The Flash is not terrible. It just really what I want from a Flash movie.
That's fair.
Bad grammar aside, I think I liked it.
Like we were saying in the movie, like we were talking about this, there is a movie underneath all this that was definitely not the final cut that we get.
Yeah.
But for what we did get, I can't say it's the worst.
For everything that Andy, the director, had to go through, because remember originally, the actor for Flash was supposed to help write this, Ezra Miller. He was so desperate of staying the Flash, he's like, I can be a part of this, I can write this, I can help write this. All of the corporate decisions that Warner Brothers had to do, all the focus testing. I'm sure Andy will eventually leak the script of the original one, and like, here's what I would have done, here's what I would have done, whatever.
It'll be completely different.
Yeah.
There was, oh wait, no, I did want to say, there was one scene that Ezra Miller actually did that was actually good in the movie.
Oh yeah.
He actually wrote the scene in the, I don't know if he wrote it, but he was part of the creation of it in the scene when they're in the Batcave, and he brings up the fact that he was throwing darts at the monkey.
That was very good because to younger Barry, it's just like, oh, that's just a toy, it's just whatever. But to older Barry, it's like, that's the last thing my mom gave me before she died.
And that's again one of the slower scenes. When they slow down and just talk, it's good. I like that scene a lot. That was Ezra Miller.
Good job. Generic content. Haven't seen it, but I love it if he goes to Hawaii. You ready for the Flash 2, guys?
That's not good. That's not good.
It's not good. I was saying a positive note.
I think he assaulted someone in Hawaii.
A lot of people, actually. Jomako 2410. I think the first half has some really shitty effects, but the second half looks great. The movie wasn't really good, though.
I agree. I agree. Your criticism was good up till halfway, but the second part kind of fell off.
Yeah, it's really shitty effects. If a comic book movie had perfect effects, what would we have there to talk about?
True.
The story? That's for dummies.
That's lame.
But you know what isn't lame?
What?
At the end of this podcast, we just finished episode 15. We just finished talking. Woo! That was the Flash, everybody.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, everyone. Goodbye.
Fuck all of you.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know why I said that, guys. I'm sorry.